horse and this human come together and kind of achieve their hopes and dreams.
Found out about them when I watched Wild Horse Wild Ride when I was little, and ever since I watched that, I've always wanted to do it. I remember leaning over to my mom and just saying, I want to do this someday. In 2018, we went to our first makeover as spectators. We were just sort of taking it all in because it really is an experience. When you go and there are so many trainers and you're in the all-tech arena, it's a lot, but it's really amazing to get to go do. After that, we decided obviously we have to come back because it was really neat experience. So then we came back the next year, actually ended up sitting behind the people from Indiana. We were sitting behind them, we were watching their performance, and just got to chatting, and it ended up that she gave lessons.
We worked for about a year on private riding lessons, just going through the regular motions and getting kind of those basics in.
So after I'd been riding Cash for a little bit and we got a feel for the foundations, she started me off on Sunny, which was her 2018 makeover horse. And I got to ride him and started to grow on him. He really pushed me, and Maddie pushed me too in the best way. And we just kept growing from that, and it was really cool to get to be a part of his journey and see him progress and her continuing to take him places and watching him grow. Then, we kept riding him, and the next year came around, and we were setting our goals for riding and where I wanted to be in a year. Well, we were talking about dreams too. And one of my dreams has always been to be able to compete in a makeover. And I had kind of tried to make that happen. My family had thought about it, but it just wasn't really gonna pan out. And so one day Maddie approached me and she was sort of feeling it out and saying, have you ever thought about maybe wanting to do a makeover?
I was unsure when I first offered the opportunity that someone would have the commitment and the dedication and the discipline to finish this competition. It's a very challenging 100 days, especially for a youth, and it requires a great deal of maturity.
I was like, yeah, I would love to do a makeover. Not sure if it's gonna work out. It isn't looking like it. And she was like, well, would you be interested in keeping your horse here? And I could mentor you, be your trainer. And I was completely shocked. I was speechless. I thought I had planned out my summer and I was just gonna do like softball. That was my big goal. And so when we started talking about that idea, it was very surreal. I had told myself a lot after submitting the papers that, okay, I'm probably not gonna get accepted, it won't work out, it'll be fine, and I was also super nervous.
I was a little uncertain as Lauren had no previous showing experience, no show pen experience, no training experience, and very, very limited groundwork experience.
Really, really nervous about it. But then I looked at my inbox and it said, congratulations! And I was like, oh boy, here we go. It was that feeling of when you get on a roller coaster and the bar kind of comes down over your head and you're so excited and you can't wait to go, but you're also like, oh, wow, this is real. And that was a pretty amazing moment. It was like the game is on.
But it was we were really throwing her into the fire with this little horse.
We kept talking, we had a meeting and discussed expectations, where did I see myself wanting to place, how could we get there, what was the best way, what kind of horse would we want to pick out, all of our goals, and we really, really set up our outline for the competition so we could stay on track. And it continued to progress, and not too long, we were headed to Illinois to pick up our Mustang. Oh. A lot of dedication. You know, on the cold days and the early mornings, you can't sleep in. You got to be out here training and doing your best. And these guys require a lot. When they first come in, they're kind of skinny and they have on all of their fluff, and they're just a little scraggly looking. Yeah, there's definitely a smell that comes with it. And you smell real good too after you're loving on them. Most mornings I would come out to the barn and meet Maddie at about 5:45, 5:30, and then we would have our lesson and train for about an hour or so, and then I would work on it for about 3 or 4 more hours after we'd done our lesson. We did lessons every other day, so I worked on the material that she'd given me to do. I did my homework, and then we'd meet the next day and we'd say, okay, here's what we need to work on today. And it comes in levels, because you start at here, and maybe your big goal for that day is to touch them or to get a halter on, or okay, I want to be able to lead him for like 3 or 4 steps. And at first that is a very daunting task, because you're talking about a horse that is completely wild and has never been touched by a person. So making your way around them and getting them really comfortable and stable at that level is hard. We chose Maverick because I really love the movie, the movie Top Gun. I think it's a fun movie, and also it really suits his personality. He is a maverick. He does things his own way. He is such a thinker, too. The first time when we were halter training him, and he was getting led for the first time, and he didn't want to move. Instead of being a normal horse and pulling back on the lead rope, he decided to collapse. And so he decided to play dead on us, and he just stared at me with those eyes. So he really does find out-of-the-box solutions to his problems. So he's really funny. And yeah, it wasn't all roses. It is harder. There's a lot of aspects that I didn't expect. There were a lot of things that I didn't know how to do. I didn't even know that's what they were called. And so Maddie was really an amazing coach in getting me through those moments, because she also took a person who had never shown a horse before or trained a horse in a way like this. So she had to be really patient with me, and she did a good job feeling out where I was, what I needed. She really understood me and how I learn, so that we could work together in the best way, in a fluid way, so that he could get the training that he needed too. So there is, and you aren't just working on the horse, you're training yourself also. You have to learn the footsteps. It's a lot of choreography. And so there is a lot to it. A lot of early mornings, a lot of days that you don't really feel like getting out of bed, but you have to decide at the beginning whether or not you're willing to do it, and if it's worth it to you. Because if it's not worth it, then you're not going to want to get up. You know, when it's, some mornings it was like 30 degrees outside or in the 20s and I was cold and it looked like the Michelin Man and we were all bundled up, and that was just while the horse was here. There's stuff to do that there's things you have to get done before the horse comes that aren't as fun either. But then the horse comes and you start to meet this really neat, they're an individual in their own, they have their own personality. They have foods that they do and don't like, all their little characteristics, and you get to know them and you start to fall in love, and they really just have a special place in your heart, and it's all worth it, and you do it because you love it and you want to see the best for them. Originally I wasn't going to keep him. I had decided that no matter how much I love this horse, it didn't matter. He was going to have to end up finding a really nice home, and my goal is to make him the best that I could possibly, you know, with the help of those around me, so that he could find a good home. And so I had told myself, no, we're not keeping him, it doesn't matter. But you start going and you're pouring your heart into these horses, you can't keep them at arm's length. And so he kind of wiggled his way in there, and you take them to shows too along the way, and those are pretty neat because you're taking them somewhere that they've never been before. I'd never been to a show before, so we were this was 100 days for me as well as for him. So we had never been to the show. We're getting there, and you start to feel the nerves in your tummy, and you're like, oh, I hope I can remember my pattern. But then you're also thinking, he has got to be a little overwhelmed too, because he has never seen this type of environment. So you're going through it, and you know, at the end, it doesn't matter if you get first. You know that you did your best, and you see how much they give you. They give you their heart too, and yeah. So you just see that they're trusting you completely, and it's really hard to know that you can't be there to see that for the whole way. This competition's not a one person, you don't do it on your own. There are 3 classes, handling and conditioning, trail class, and the freestyle. For handling and conditioning, we had to demonstrate multiple maneuvers. He had to be able to walk with a loose lead and trot. He had to back up in a straight line smoothly and do a pivot demonstrate the pivot well. We also had to side pass. He was a really good boy. We filmed for almost 2 days for that video. Maddie was such a trooper. I don't know how many times she had to say, "Lauren McCracken, and he's a Maverick." But she stuck it out and was always encouraging, and we got lots of laughs out of that. And then our trail class was a lot, I think, went smoother than our handling and conditioning. That's probably one of our favorite classes. He enjoys all the mental stimulation and the different obstacles. So he got to play to some of his strengths. Then we got to do the freestyle, and the freestyle was probably my favorite. Oh, his favorite too. And we did our Top Gun theme. It had a really neat opening. We pulled in a little fighter jet blow up pool toy, and yeah, we kind of got to act out the movie. I feel like we did it justice. It was a neat moment, and Maddie was so instrumental in putting that all together. She really helped me choreograph and get it set up in a way that would suit both of us. My best moment has probably been in our freestyle. We took one last shoot. We had been filming all day. We were tired. It was in the 90s temperature-wise. I had on a flight suit. Maverick had been running around too, so I'm sure he was really feeling it at that point as well. Just gone home, taking a break. He had gotten his break, and we came back, and we knew he only had 1 or 2 takes in him. And so on the first take, we got it, and we were like, this is the one. And it was this feeling of completion. You know that everything is wrapping up the way that you were hoping it could, so you're finishing with, you're finishing the right way. Yeah, showing that you can do hard things and that you can complete something and run the race well. That's been a big lesson. I think I went in, I'd never really been able to complete something, especially on this scale, in a way that I was really happy with. I feel like finishing this, I will be able to say that I've given 110%, and so no matter where we place, we'd come dead last. And I'd still be happy with the videos we submitted, the amazing friendships that I've just gotten to watch grow, and people that I've gotten to know better, and the life lessons that I have gotten to learn. It's been an amazing experience. And I can't just sum it up in a few words because it really is a journey. There are those little things every day that you're learning, and it's small lessons that slowly build you as a person. It's one little block at a time. So it is something that you have to look back at and be like, okay, at this point, I was only here, and then you look and it's a progression. It's very much a process.
an incredible privilege to coach such an amazing team this year. I've absolutely enjoyed working with Lauren and Maverick. I was unsure when I first offered the opportunity that someone would have the commitment and the dedication and the discipline to finish this competition. It's a very challenging 100 days, especially for a youth, and it requires a great deal of maturity. And Lauren really came to that this year and really showed that she had what it took, and she completed this competition in an absolutely amazing way. I'm so extremely proud of her, and I'm proud of Maverick. And I think it just really shows that with that discipline and dedication, anyone can do what they set their minds to.
Advice to someone, if I was going to give any advice to someone who wanted to compete in a makeover, I would say you should go to a makeover first, and you should see. You need to surround yourself with people who love you, people who are going to support you, and are also going to be honest with you on the hard days. You need constructive criticism to get through this and improve, but also being ready for anything that can happen. It did work out really well with Mav, but Promise has had a lot rougher journey. So being prepared and willing to put the horse first and do right by them, to handle whatever situation can come to you with grace. And you should probably find a mentor, especially if you're as inexperienced as I am going when you first went into this and still learning. But yes, find someone who can guide you, who you can ask questions, who can find little things to correct you on, can hold you to the standards that you need to be held to. And you should always surround yourself with people who are better than you. The horse definitely teaches you a lot. With Maverick, he is a communicator. He tells me all the time however he feels. So you have to be willing to listen, and then you have to adjust. And you can't adjust if you aren't listening, and if you can't adjust, then you're not gonna do very well. You have to be very adaptable.
And she went right from day one, first time in the pen, on her own. I sat up on the fence, I never laid hands on the horse, and I just coached her through everything, and she absolutely took it. She did her homework, and she used her common sense and her wisdom, and she got through the entire competition. She put in the time and the hours, and it absolutely shows. And I think it's inspiring to anyone who sees that to know that no matter where you're coming from, if you put in the work and you have the knowledge behind you, you can get this done and you can do incredibly well.